Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur. But today we're talking about how the rookies are getting on, as this has been the year where it's the year of the rookies in a way, because we have had so many of them. And what I count as a rookie is someone who has not previously completed a year within Formula One, or the majority of the year within Formula One, previously to present day. So let's get on with the rookies. So this will go in no particular order, but I thought I would start off with the pretty obvious one, which is Jack Doohan, who only had 6 races in the 2025 season before he was let go of as a driver and is now a reserve driver and hasn't driven since the Miami Grand Prix. We are obviously in the last quarter of the races now, and he only shows up as a reserve. He hasn't been behind the wheel, at least on the main tracks, ever since he was let go of and Colapinto was put into that seat. But unfortunately, he did not get any points during his time as an F1 driver, and he also did have quite a few big shunts, and it just didn't bode as well as it should have gone. But in his defense, the Alpine this year is not a good piece of machinery for the drivers, and you can tell by their points at this moment. Now let's talk about Lawson. So in the first 2 races of this year, he was a Red Bull Racing driver until he got demoted, and demoted, I say lightly, to the Racing Bulls team, and that's because Racing Bulls seems to have a much easier car to drive, and it just seems to be more with it for anybody to use rather than the Red Bull that seems to have mood swings, and just it doesn't seem to be an easy car to drive. So I think it benefited him to actually move back to Racing Bulls, where he can feel a bit more comfortable and steady the ship a bit in that way, because it is quite a big shock. Because although Racing Bulls is meant to be the team where everyone is learning how to be an F1 driver while being an F1 driver to show themselves how good they could be in the Red Bull, it hasn't been the case for a long time now, where the car is just so different that nothing can prepare you to drive a Red Bull unless you are Max Verstappen, because you are more than human. So in a way, I think it's a blessing that he was put back into Racing Bulls, and I don't see it as a demotion. I see it as a promotion for the better of his mental health and well-being, and he is scoring points. He has had quite an interesting second half of the season. He's been scoring a lot of points, and he has just been on the up and up. When the car is there, he is there, and it's good to see him improving from where he was in the beginning of the year. And now we are talking about Isaac Hadjar. He has had a fascinating season. He has been going from strength to strength. Obviously, in the first race in Australia, it was a nightmare. He crashed in the formation lap. He walked off crying. He hugged Lewis Hamilton's dad, but that was a way of supporting him, and it showed that he was willing to pick himself up from that moment, and has only been getting stronger and stronger by each week. And it is amazing to see. He is one of the contenders to be Rookie of the Year, because he has just been able to just be this sort of underdog in a way, because originally it wasn't thought that he was going to get a stint in F1 so quickly, because Red Bull didn't really want him in their teams yet. But then when they decided to let go of Sergio Perez, they put Liam Lawson in Red Bull. They had one free space with Yuki Tsunoda, so they put Hadjar in there, and obviously then there was a switcheroo between Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda. but I feel that Isaac Hajar has had an amazing season so far. He's got a lot of points, and I believe he is in the top 10 for driver standings still. So amazing for a rookie from a midfield team to be doing as well as he is doing, and just generally any midfielder that happens to be on the in the first top 10 is an amazing achievement for anyone, and honestly one of the contenders for Rookie of the Year by far. And now we are talking about the other Alpine rookie, which is Colapinto, who took over from Jack Doohan. He has been, well, he's had a roller coaster of a year. He's still on 0 points as of the Austin GP, and he is just struggling in that Alpine. But as I said, the Alpine is not a great car this year, so it does seem to have a hindrance on his ability to show how good of a driver he was. Last year when he was in the Williams, when he took over from Logan Sargent, he was able to show himself as the driver that he could be, and he showed a lot of potential and that he could be a point scorer. But unfortunately, with the ongoings between Alpine and Renault, whether Renault even wants to be in Formula One anymore as any sort of organisation, and the fact that Alpine has decided to separate from Renault, and now they will be a Mercedes engine car. They seem to be on the up next year, but for now it does hinder his ability to sort of sell himself as a good driver, although we do have 2024 to show, like, no, he can do well, but in the right machinery. And sometimes if the machinery is not there, then the results aren't there either, because there needs to be some sort of balance between driver and car. And if the car is really disadvantaged, then the driver just looks like the worst person ever that probably shouldn't have even had a driving license, let alone the ability to drive an F1 car. And that's not the fault of the drivers this year, because it has been such a difficult car to drive. He is also the only person on the grid that doesn't have any points that is still taking part in the races, so it is not looking great. So we'll see how it pans out, whether we'll see him on the grid next year. And now let's talk about Bortoleto, the F3 F2 back-to-back champion, who is now in Sauber. Originally he did not get off to a good start, but in this more mid to second half of the season he has gotten a lot better, out qualifying Nico Hulkenberg a lot of the time, being in Q3 quite a lot of the time, and scoring quite a lot of points for Sauber, who nobody would have ever thought that Sauber could get so many points after the difficult year they had last year, where they only scored 4 points, to now have somewhere in the regions of 55 points until the Austin Grand Prix, where we'll find out if they get any more points from there. But we will see about that. But he is the other contender for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, because he has shown a lot of growth. He has shown what he could do in the junior formulas, and now it's coming through to show, like, yeah, I am that champion. It might be a bit of a slower journey to get to it, but that's because it's a completely different ball game when it comes to Formula One compared to the other junior formulas, because in the junior formulas everyone has an equal engine, everyone has the same engine from the same manufacturer, and then obviously the teams tweak wherever they can, wherever the rules can and allow to change. So so now that it's a whole completely different ballpark, where there are different engines, there are different suppliers, there is a lot going on. I feel like, especially in the mid to more of the second half of the season, he has shown that more championship mentality, and he is one to look out for. And I hope that Audi gives him that opportunity to show more of himself as that as having that potential, and maybe we'll see Audi perhaps being one of the top teams rather than the mid to the lowest of her teams, in terms of how history tells us these things. But the points that he scored doesn't tell the entire story, because he has done much better. It's just sometimes doesn't come out in the points as it should have done, but he has had a wild year so far. Now, Ollie Behrman has been sort of the driver who has shown a lot of courage, sometimes a bit too much courage, because he is on the brink of being disqualified from a race due to the amount of penalty points he has gained. He has had a bit of an up and down year, sometimes because of the way he drives, and sometimes because of the car, as the Haas can be a bit of an unpredictable car. But he has gained a lot of points, but those are championship points and penalty points, which is a bit worrying. But you do have to remember that a few of them are from 2024, when he was filling in for Carlos Sainz and for Kevin Magnussen. So those unfortunately are from that time, but some penalty points do disappear over time, so I'm sure some of those disappeared if he had many of them. But yes, an up and down year, and he attacked the pit lane in Silverstone. That gained him quite a few penalty points. It was it was under a red flag, I believe, and he crashed out while attacking the pit lane, and he deeply regretted that. But yeah, it's been a wild one for him. Hopefully next year will be a lot better, and hopefully more championship points are coming his way. And now let's talk about Kimi Antonelli. So he was the guy that had so much pressure on him, because he is the only one that is in a top team. He's in Mercedes, and I feel like he has had, or the European part of the season hasn't gone very well. There was especially a lot of pressure because he is sort of, as a European, he sort of feels like he might need to perform even more, and as a result, that is affecting his ability to perform well. So he didn't have a great European part of the season. I feel like maybe if he would have had the chance to be in a more midfield team somewhere, in order to learn how to work a machine, but also not have that sort of pressure, the media pressure on him to perform, and then eventually after maybe a year or two bring him up to Mercedes, and then that will give him the opportunity to develop in between being in F2 and being in F1. It's just lead up to it. You can't expect greatness from the get-go, and I know that they didn't expect greatness, but I feel like they did sort of hurt themselves by not allowing him to have that growth that he should have gotten. But that's a lesson for another time, and hopefully now that he has re-signed to a Mercedes for at least another year, hopefully 2026 will be a much better year, and it will be less up and down and more steady growth. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. I do apologise that for some drivers I refer to them by their last name and some of them by their first and last name. So just to clarify, we were talking about Jack Doohan, Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar, Franco Colapinto, Gabriele Bortoletto, Oliver Behrman, and Kimi Antonelli. And don't forget that there will be another episode on Monday where we'll be discussing the United States Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, on the Circuit of the Americas. So get ready for that one. As per usual, don't forget to check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network. Don't forget to check out BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com. FormulaAmateur.com is coming, as I've been saying for quite a while. I'm still working on that one. But hold on tight to that. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.